Good morning, Roxbury. I'm a therapist, more precisely, a psychologist. And no, I'm not psychic. I can't read your mind, even if I wanted to. But becoming a psychologist is my calling. It's something I dreamed about since I was a little girl in Barbados. And knowing what my parents sacrificed to make my dream come true, it supercharged my ambition. I was determined to excel and make them proud. And the plan worked perfectly. I came to America for college, I graduated with honors, and I even earned a PhD in psychology, all by the age of 29. Now, becoming a psychologist was tough, but I was willing to put in the long hours and work 3-4 jobs at a time just to succeed. After all, I had learned how to work hard by watching my parents. So I was going to excel no matter what, no matter the cost. But I stand here before you today, lucky to be alive. Because of all the things I learned on my journey to becoming a psychologist, the one thing that escaped me was how to prioritize my needs. I was so busy helping everybody else, being the healer, I had forgotten about me. How many of you have had words of wisdom passed on to you from your parents and your community? Right? We've all had those words. Gems my family intended to help me succeed in life. Like, you're going to have to work twice as hard. And I saw my parents grind, working night and day to provide for our family. Another one was, silence is golden. And if you're Bajan, we would say, keep your mouth shut. In church, as children, you had to be quiet, even the babies. And my favorite of all, black don't crack. At least not on the outside. So by the time I started my first job, these gems were deeply ingrained. And these words within the culture, they're wealth. But when they collide with workplaces that are steeped in patriarchy, capitalism, and white supremacy, they become deadly. Work twice as hard? I was working 3-4 times as hard. I was an expert in the grind. I was working all the time. Work. Rihanna had nothing on me. There was no time for rest, no time for sleep. And to top it all off, the constant code switching, microaggressions, and feeling like a black pawn in these racist systems, it took an emotional toll. I was stressed and tired all the time. And I looked at too. This was success? July 2011, I get a call. My dear Auntie Kay, her cancer had spread to her brain. And you know what that means. So I rushed down to Florida with my baby son, Sydney, in tow, knowing that this would be the first and probably the last time that they would meet. My mom and I are in my aunt's hospital room, just passing time, and the nurse comes in to check my aunt's vitals. Here goes my mom. Can you check my blood pressure? So not wanting to be left out of this family bonding moment, I was like, can you check mine too? And let me tell you something. What happened next would change my life forever. My blood pressure was so high. It was double what it was supposed to be. And the nurse looked at me in horror. And I know she's thinking, how is this woman standing here right now? But what she said was, you need to go to the emergency room now. Was this for real? I look good for my age. What happened to black don't crack? So I'm in the hospital room, in the emergency room, alone. People, doctors, nurses buzzing all around me. And I'm aware that my aunt is a few floors above me, dying. And my husband is hundreds of miles in Boston, not knowing what's happening to me right now. And I made a vow. If I survived this, if I made it out of here alive, I was going to take better care of myself. For my husband, for Sydney, for me. This was my wake-up call. But if you've ever had a wake-up call, you know the first one usually doesn't stick. Right? So for a while, I was eating my green leafy vegetables, doing my kickboxing, even taking my newly prescribed blood pressure medication. But soon, I started slipping back into my old habits. My drive to work nearly killed me. Not my commute, my ambition. I nearly lost my life. September 17th, 2012, I'm in the second year in a leadership role in a job that I love, except for one thing. I was not prepared for the level of racism and sexism that I would experience as a Black woman leader. But I didn't want to make any waves, so I kept my mouth shut. That silence is golden thing. But it was eating me up inside. And as I wore the mask, pretending that I'm all right, my body held the silent truth. See, I was 36 weeks pregnant with my second child. And during one of my lunch breaks, I went for a quick visit to the doctor, the OB, you know, the routine visit to check on me and the baby. And they checked my blood pressure, and it was a little high. That's what I keep telling myself. So they asked me to sit around and wait so that they could recheck it. Now, instead of breathing and relaxing, I'm like getting frustrated because I got to get back to work. They checked it again. Still high. Finally, the doctor comes in to release me. But instead, she says, I have bad news. All that I heard from that point was preeclampsia, emergency room. My second emergency room visit in just over a year. But this time, the risks are greater because I'm pregnant. And my husband is by my side. And we learned that as my medical proxy, he would have to make a decision between me and the baby if things went south. And when he looked to me and said, I don't want to lose you, it hit me hard. My second wake-up call. Preeclampsia is a preeclampsia is a pregnancy-related high blood pressure. And according to the CDC, it is 60% higher in Black women, white women. And Black women are 2.6 times more likely to die in childbirth than white women. And underlying these deadly stats is a silent killer we don't talk enough about: racial stress, the emotional tax of living while Black. And here's where racial stress gets very real. If you're a Black or brown person living in the Roxbury, Nubian Square area, your life expectancy is 23 years shorter than a white Back Bay resident who just lives 2 miles away. So this 2 miles from Nubian Square to the Prudential Center are stark inequalities in income, education, and access to quality health care, all because of racism. And in the workplace, racial stress is deadly too. And it's more than people touching your hair or mistaking you for the other Black person in the office. It's the undermining of your leadership, discounting of your ideas and your humanity, and having coworkers and even leaders who witness discrimination against you but choose to remain silent. The tragic death of Dr. Antoinette Candia Bailey, a Black woman leader, in January this year, 2024, highlights the mental anguish that racism in the workplace causes, even when you speak up and ask for help. Rest in peace, my sister. So as I held baby Simone in my arms, she was so beautiful, but so tiny, a mere 4 pounds, 12 ounces. And I knew we were blessed to have both made it out of that delivery room alive, because the odds were not in our favor. And when I flash back to that moment in my doctor's office, it saddens me that my response to her was not about my health or my baby, but about my job, y'all. Workplaces are not safe for Black people. They've never been. And while workplace well-being is a $1 billion industry, it's still a one-size-fits-all approach. It is not designed for us. And so after 2 wake-up calls and a few bouts of burnout, I finally realized I could not rely on my job to prioritize my well-being. It was on me. I had to learn to reorder my priorities. Well-being and health first, then ambition. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm still as ambitious as ever, especially as a full-time entrepreneur. Yep, I'm my boss. But my health comes first. And you know how I know it's working? Instead of getting, "You look tired, sis," I'm getting, "Girl, you are glowing." And I receive it. So if you want to glow like me from the inside, I have some stuff for you. You ready? Yes. All right. First, get your therapist. I mean, I'm a therapist. Of course I recommend therapy. But I also have 3 new gems for you. They are everyday practices that I use to remind myself to put my well-being and health over my ambition. They're free and as easy as your ABCs. A, ancestral affirmations. Remember who you are and whose you are. Ancestral mathematics teaches us that we have over 4,000 ancestors surrounding us and affirming us all the time. Create 1 to 2 affirmations and recite them every day. Say this one with me. My ancestors smile when I heal. My ancestors smile when I heal. Yes, do that one more time. My ancestors smile when I heal. Yes. B, breath. Intentional deep breathing slows down our emotions, our thoughts, and our actions, and it actually helps us to heal from chronic stress. Take a breath with me. Breathe in through your nose, and slowly exhale through your mouth. Excellent. This time, breathe in rest. Breathe out stress. And C, community healing. Surround yourself with people who have gone through similar experiences, who are invested in your well-being, and people who will keep you accountable to your wealth. Together, we can heal. Unapologetically put you first. Practice your ABCs, ancestral affirmations, breath, and community healing. Remember your well-being and health over your ambition. Don't wait to have another wake-up call. Thank you.